Welcome back to y'all hearing this. My name is Kay. Thank you so much for coming and checking us out here on Patreon, getting into some more lore. And we're doing part 2 of Dreamcatcher this week. So we're going to be doing a couple from a video creator called Sua Sinbi. So we're doing Sua is the Spider Lady, Dreamcatcher Nightmare Book Theory, and Dreamcatcher Scream and Book Analysis Secret Code of the DC Universe. So yeah, I'm excited. I really enjoyed part 1, getting into kind of the Nightmare series. So let's check it out.
I made a video explaining in detail the entire Dreamcatcher Nightmare storyline. However, there are always gaps in between and pure speculation that just do not fit completely right in the story. One of which is Xian's and Handong's role in the series. In this video, we will finally examine one of the important objects in the storyline, which is most of the time neglected. The Nightmare Book. Particularly, Suwa's page in the Nightmare Book. Did you ever wonder why Suwa's page is the only page in the book with these hand seals at the top and bottom of the page? Have you ever wondered why Suwa's page has 7 red glyphs, which shares some commonality with Xian's page, but not the other member's page? 6 glyphs are aligned, except one which is unique to Suwa. The purpose of this video is to shed light on the true meaning of the glyphs, which leads to a completely different perspective of the Dreamcatcher universe. The perspective of the Dreamcatcher's universe that we had been missing all this time. This theory is probably one of the deepest theories one can ever propose in the Nightmare Saga. This requires a bit of knowledge of the storyline. Let's start off with clarifying what Suwa's role is in the series. Before we form theories on her page, we have to master Suwa's role. This will help us think of the narrative in such a perspective that we actually get to solve the entire mystery of the glyphs and the hand seals. As I have said in the past video, Suwa is related to the Spider Lady, to a much bigger extent that we can ever imagine. She is the source of the curse, and Yuan is the one who introduced us to Suwa. She is the black smoke that arose from the dead burning spider. Here are the reasons why. 1. In Fly High, she is in the cobweb scene. At first, before Yuan's first line, that scene was empty. But in the bridge, Suwa occupies that scene. Suwa appears only as a creepy girl behind Xian when Yuan was about to burn the spider. 2. In Fly High concept photos, there is a spider in Suwa. There is no spider in any of the other members' concept photos. 3. In Fly High, she seems to be controlling the girls in the table scene. She is also the leader in the ritual and chase main. 4. She holds Yuan, the killer of the spider, by her neck in chase main. 5. In You and I, she is in the exact same room as Yuan and the old lady that turns into a spider. She disappears only when you and the lady enter the room. She appears in that scene again after the spider lady assaulted Yuan. 6. In What, there are tapes in Suwa's scene that say danger, Peligro. There is also a crown that is burning, the crown perhaps pertaining to Suwa, and it burned because the spider is burned in Fly High. 7. Guyon actually saw Suwa in What MV during the song's bridge, locking Yuan in a separate room with the help of Dami. This is consistent because in Fly High, Suwa controlled Dami to be the veiled lady to corrupt 2 of the girls. Guyon runs after that scene in horror. 8. In Piri, Suwa's nightmare scene is a burnt baby and several dolls. The burnt baby is the burnt spider in Fly High. The dolls looked at her, meaning that burnt baby, the baby spider of the Spider Queen, is related to her. 9. In Piri, Yuan abducted 3 of the girls who know who Suwa is. Guyon as she saw Suwa in What, Dami as she is being controlled by Suwa in Fly High, and Xian as she is Suwa's twin. Yuan brought them in her white room to protect them from Suwa. Suwa is actually haunting the girls, as she is in the hallway at times. Handong did not make it. Gu is with her other self. 10. In Breaking Out, she is in a swing with the rope on fire, reminiscent of the burning spider, with its web as the rope, burning.
It's 11. So cool how deeply
Suwa's
this
choreo
goes.
is the one that puts Yuan out of her nightmare, in Breaking Out. 12. Suwa is the owner of the book. Dami, the one she is controlling, is responsible for keeping it. However, she messed up and dropped it at the end of Good Night. Her punishment is getting encased in a glass dome in you and I. Now that it is clear, let's move on to deciphering the meaning of these glyphs. This actually took some review of an outside source, and I finally stumbled upon someone who was able to decipher the meaning, which he said took a lot of effort because these are actually witch glyphs.
Astrology?
The first glyph is a combination of God and feminine. If we are to choose a member who best fits this description, it has to be Handong. She is feminine, and she is the only member who is able to use her magic in the dream world and affect the real world. I is often associated with God. So this glyph must pertain to Handong's eye. The second glyph is logic. Dami reads a lot of books in the series. The third glyph is a combination of fire and cooperation. This has to be Xian, as she burns pictures in you and I. In Deja Vu, Xian's scene has fire in the background. In Goodnight, her scene introduces the burning wall when she appears in the mirror. She cooperates with her twin Suwa. The fourth glyph means new moon. This has to be Jiyu. In What's lyrics, even if black clouds cover me I still see you, we then see the moon covered in black clouds. The moon is also bigger than the sun in Deja Vu when the MV shows what's real. What's real is Jiyu died in Deja Vu, but Yuyan is actually the loser because she is reigning over nothing. The fifth glyph is Earth. This is Gaion. Gaion is the nature girl in Full Moon's promotional video, as we see flowers in her bed and fly high. The guy also remembered her in his nightmares, encircling her head in Chase Mane. The sixth glyph is Sun Rays. In Fly High, Yuyan's magnifying glass is pointing at her and the spider, not at the sun, when she is burning the spider. She cannot burn the spider with the magnifying glass pointed at her, unless she is the sun's rays. The sun is smaller than the moon in Deja Vu when we see Yuyan on a throne but is reigning over a barren land. In Piri, Yuyan's room is the only room with light. She soon grabs 3 members who are being chased by Suwa and Piri and brought them in the white room, except for Gaion who is only given little light because she abandoned Yuyan in What MV. Gaion saw Suwa and Dami locking in Yuyan in the Joker Cart's room, but instead, Gaion ran in horror. She was a coward. She cannot do anything to save Yuyan, unlike Jiyu. The last glyph, which is isolated, by process of elimination, is for Suwa. This is the infamous heart cross, mostly attributed to the greatest sacrifice in the history of mankind. This is Christ's crucifixion. During the day of his crucifixion, the sky turned dark. Black clouds gathered on the place of his crucifixion. This must mean that Suwa must have been a vessel which the girls sacrificed, to contain the evil, and not let it spread. Suwa represents the black clouds, which may be likened to the black smoke that Yuyan released after burning the spider, who later possessed her in you and I. This is why we saw Xian at first with the creepy doll, then when Yuyan burned the spider, Suwa followed Xian. What comes after fire? The black smoke. The black smoke also possessed Yuyan in you and I, when the spider lady attacked Yuyan. Basically, in Goodnight, we are seeing a sealed Suwa. 6 arms representing the other members are pinning her to the ground. She manages to escape when the page that sealed her is burned, as the girls found it necessary to use Suwa's power to beat the Nightmare Hunter. Now, let's take a look at the storyline in this perspective. In the Nightmare storyline, we can say that even if black clouds or black smoke Suwa is covering the moon Jiyu, the moon can still see Sun Yuan because she is above the black clouds. This is why Jiyu said even if black clouds cover me, I can still see you while looking at Yuan in What MV. This is why Moon Jiyu is always chasing the Sun Yuan. The moon is always running away from the darkness that it brings on Earth, and is chasing the sun at all times. The moon is chasing the sun in the sky, every day and night. The rest of the members are unaware of what is happening because black smoke or cloud Suwa can block the Sun Yuan here on Earth, so only Moon Jiyu can see Sun Yuan. Hence, Logic Dami is easily swayed by Suwa and is able to manipulate her. Earth Gaion cannot do anything but watch black smoke Suwa blocking Sun Yuan. Hence, we see Gaion in What MV where she sees Suwa locking Yuan but Gaion just ran away. The sun saves the girls from Suwa, but Earth Gaion only receives such light that can pass through the black smoke. This is her punishment for not being able to be of help to Sun Yuan. That ends my interpretation of the Nightmare storyline. Thank you for watching. While you are at it, you may choose to watch my entire analysis of the storyline.
I like her first video too. We'll watch that before if you haven't seen that under the lore videos.
Again, thank you so much. Stand talent, stand Dreamcatcher.
just wanna make you scream.
Pretty sure this was the first song we heard. Either this or Boca, or maybe both. Oh, maybe it was Boca. I can't remember now. Either way, completely blown away from the beginning.
Dreamcatcher paints to us another story, a story which is said to be different from the Nightmare storyline that we grew with and loved, fully solidified with an album name's title, The End of Nightmare. Dreamcatcher then paints another story on a blank canvas, perhaps to give the impression that the nightmare is really over, and something, either for the better or worse, is on its way, and theorists like you and me are yet again challenged to decipher the most plausible story that one can craft. Since you clicked on this video, you are probably aware that I am completely not buying the argument that the nightmare is over. In fact, the nightmare has returned. It has returned to not only haunt our precious Dreamcatcher members, but also the whole world. Please remain seated as I share with you the Dreamcatcher universe that I see, and would want you to see. Let's start with having a review of the story of an important object in the lore, the Nightmare book. If you have watched my previous video, you probably know this. But let's do a quick recap, shall we? The Nightmare book reveals to us that Sua's page is the only page that is burned in Goodnight, and that should already tell you that something strange is going on here. With this in mind, how about we examine the said page? By having a closer look at the page, we do not only see Sua's angelic figure, but we also see symbols and figures. Only until we actually know the meaning of these symbols, that we actually see the Dreamcatcher universe from the perspective of the maker. Think of this page as the cheat code to the story of Dreamcatcher, and as I will prove to you later, this exact page is going to be our cheat code to not just the Nightmare storyline, but also the Dystopia storyline. And as you probably know by now, I am not here to just explain the Dystopia arc the way I see it, but we will make some predictions also, from the very formula that this page will reveal to us. The symbols that you see are called witch glyphs. They have very specific meanings, and it took some third-party assistance before I actually got this close to the hidden formula of Dreamcatcher. The first glyph is a combination of God and femininity. This is Handong, as she is the feminine god as we see her ability manifest in Goodnight. One of the eyes appears on the cover page of Christopher Moore's book, The God of Darkness, perhaps referring to Handong. Even though she is a god, we see Sua trying to manipulate her, where Handong is seen trying to resist. The second glyph is logic. You can say that Dami is the nerd of Dreamcatcher's lore, as we often see her with books, in a classroom setting, and in Rose Blue, she seems to be the Girl Cafe Gun's academic character. As intelligent as she is, Dami gets manipulated by the Sua in Fly High, where she corrupts 3 of the girls. For purposes of this discussion, we shall name this side of her as the Veiled Lady, who Jiyu sees as her mirror self, because of the guilt of taming the spider, the source of the nightmare that they are placed in. As instructed, she holds the book, but for some reason, she drops it in the middle of a forest. The spider punishes her by placing her inside a glass dome, reminiscent of the fate the spider was put in not long ago. Dami's ingenuity is probably what made her decide to drop the Nightmare book, as her mind can still overcome the spider's grasp.
Just watched that
this
video.
continuous resistance from the spider is the reason why we see an inverted version of Dami in Deja Vu. The third glyph is a combination of fire and cooperation. This is Shi Yan. Her flaming walls seen in Goodnight, burning pictures in You and I, as well as in Deja Vu are clear indications of this glyph. She also cooperates with her twin, Sua, unlike the rest who try to put up some resistance in one way or another. The fourth glyph is a combination of moon and mirror. This is Jiyu. She sees her mirror self in Fly High, and we often see her beside mirrors. As the moon, she reflects the sun, Yuyan. So when Yuyan touches the mirror in Fly High, this manifests in Jiyu seeing her mirror as well. In What's Bridge, Jiyu sings Even if black clouds cover me, I still see you. We then see the moon covered in black clouds. The fifth glyph is a combination of earth and something else which I have yet to decipher. This is Gayon, as she is the full moon girl who meets with nature where her tarot cards are. Gayon is also in a flowery bed, full of plants, in Fly High. Petals fall in her scene in Deja Vu. As we will later know, thanks to this glyph, Gayon is the tree of language. As Earth, she is able to sense the inner workings of the spider's mind, but she cannot do anything other than run. The sixth glyph is light, or the rays of the sun. This is Yuyan's bright room in Piri. We also see her pointing the magnifying glass in her direction and not at the sun's, for she represents the sun through this glyph. The sun in Deja Vu shows how Yuyeon forces herself to believe that she is not at fault, and that she is the victim. She sees herself as the one in the casket, the one who is betrayed, still together with her friends, and that the kingdom is in order. As the sun, she is responsible for burning the spider. The last glyph, the biggest among the 7, is the heart cross. It is the greatest sacrifice in the history of mankind. Christ's crucifixion, where black clouds gathered around him. This is Suwa. We then realize that this particular page is not an ordinary page, for this is Suwa herself. This page is the source of the curse, and the Nightmare Hunter was so close to deciphering it. In short, we beat him to it. 6 hands are pinning Suwa to the ground, represented by the 6 other members' glyphs. She is burnt at stake, represented by the spider. The girls sacrificed her in Fly High, and they again sacrificed her in Goodnight, to ward off the Nightmare Hunter. She is represented by the burnt baby in Piri. She returns to seek revenge in Yuan as the Spider Lady, who possessed Yuyeon in the form of a black smoke. As Jiyu, the moon, reflects Yuyeon, the sun, she, too, is chased by the nightmare. Yuyeon has a mirror in Piri, and so does Jiyu. Yuyeon is trapped by Suwa and the manipulated Dami, in a room, and so is Jiyu. Yuyeon runs past the boarding school, so does Jiyu's reflection. When Yuyeon burns her peaceful future away, so does Jiyu. They mirror each other in Deja Vu, as well as in What MV. As you probably know by now, the moon chases after the sun every day and night, and they never seem to meet. They can meet only in one instance. A solar eclipse. We then see a rose that blooms from the Nightmare book in What MV. It is purple, which represents Suwa. Bor means purple, so this could imply that Suwa is the rose that blooms from the Nightmare. She throws blue roses in Deja Vu as well. Finally, Suwa considers Jiyeon as her twin, and this will reflect more in the next storyline. So how do we go about the next storyline? First, we should establish a link between the cheat code and the dystopia storyline. This was a little tricky, but by taking a closer look, there is one more glyph that we have to name. It is the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is the closest link to the Tree of Language. Now that we have a link, we should find a common denominator between the two storylines, and work from there. This common denominator is right in front of your eyes. It is the Nightmare book. By looking back, we know that the Nightmare book came from the source of the curse, Suwa. This is then passed on to Dami, who intentionally drops it in Goodnight, in a green forest full of life, thanks to Dami's great mind that can undo the spider's manipulation. The next and last instance of the book is in What MV, where we see the rose blooming from it, while the surrounding soil loses fertility, and plants die. The rose sucks nourishment from the soil. From a green rainforest in Goodnight, it turns into a wasteland in Scream. This is where we start to use the cheat code in deciphering the story. According to Dami, Scream is inspired by middle-aged witch hunts, and the point of note is the devil is depicted with their hand choreography. Some of the Theban words that appear in the music video are desperation, pain, scream, and hatred. Theban is also the witch's alphabet, the runes of Honorius, so this is yet another confirmation that we are not getting away from the Nightmare book's application. According to Jiyu, the lore centers on a magical tree that bears black fruit if they speak foul language, but grows white fruit when they use refined words. There is consistency because a witch hunt is also about hurting people with words. The setting of dystopia is undeniably the place where darkness stems from foul language. When the mother goddess suddenly disappears from the tree, the influence of evil starts to seep into the roots of the tree of language. One day, suddenly, the light did not come, and people forgot how to say good things. The moon and sun, represented by Jiyu and Yuyeon, are nowhere to be found, as the smoke envelops the land, blocking any light from reaching the tree of language. This is the effect of the rose that blooms from the Nightmare book, which turns the land infertile, and earth, represented by Gayon, is naturally drawn to the darkness because of the rose. The story has two sets of characters, as correctly pointed out by Dami. There are witches trying to fight off attacks directed at them because of the Tree of Language, as well as the goddesses who protect the Tree of Language, but are consumed by the darkness later on. These two are the fruits of the tree. The white fruit vanishes. Gayon, the tree, is chased by the evil entity, until she finally succumbs, and bursts. It attempts to turn the situation around, where Dami with a great mind, whose glyph is logic, attempts to win it over. But to no avail. The evil entity reveals itself as Suwa, consistent with her role in the glyphs. She is influenced by the darkness to infiltrate the tree and manipulate Gayon in further releasing the nightmare.
Yeah,
the tree of language is enveloped in darkness. The tree makes contact with the darkness, and nightmare is unleashed to the world. Evil masks are worn by those infected by the black fruits of the tree. If in the previous storyline, the story is just about the girls, dystopia sets the whole world as its stage. Black fruit spread across all directions, and darkness ensues. In the persona of Suwa is the nightmare itself, with her left eye covered. Their eyes are forcibly closed, blood and tears come out, and their mouths are more destructive than ever. One of the goddesses, Shion, attempts to reopen one of her eyes. In the process of doing so, we see her lingering in the darkness. With the help of the sun, Yuyon, she is able to navigate her way in the darkness. She manages to open her right covered eye. As revealed, this right eye is a blue eye, and this blue eye is called the Devil's Eye. The world is enveloped in darkness, and people with masks are consumed by hatred. In Boca, Shion uses her right blue eye to cleanse the fruits of the infected tree, Gayon. The tree basically acts as this guide, where as long as it bears pure good fruit, then the people will certainly be able to continue to say good things. The tree, together with the other goddesses, are depicted as trapped in a frame, which is reminiscent of the nightmare storyline, when the girls are stuck in the mirror world. Boca portrays the experience of the girls as they navigate through a world where the people are turned into evil entities, whose only purpose is to wreak havoc. While personally dealing
one of my
with the
favorite
nightmare
looks
and
for Gaon.
darkness that we all are
Pink hair,
very
the
familiar
little
with, the light,
buns.
Yuyon, and naturally, the moon, Jiyu, lead the girls in a campaign to shut the mouth of people who direct irresponsible words to others. Dami combats the masks with logic. She grabs the mask's attention, bringing down thunders while offering protection to the victims of hate, behind locked doors. From Dami's line, it is clear that the girls are not there to exact hateful violent vengeance, but they aim to convert the people to abandon their masks and change their minds. Suwa then enters the picture, where we see two versions of herself. One seems to be the persona of darkness that infected the tree back in Scream MV, and the other one is the water goddess that aims to protect the tree and cleanse its fruits. Shion is underwater, and we see an image of the tree completely submerged underwater. This is the doing of Shion's right blue eye, the Devil's Eye. The statues around her have their mouths taped, consistent with the theme of the story. The girls initiate an attack to an industrial setting filled with masked people. The MV definitely carries a dystopian theme with the members and backup dancers dressed up in fighting outfits with staffs. In contrast to Scream, which is about opening your mouth, the lyrics for Boca proclaim they will shut someone else's. Shion's stance is confident and powerful, indicating that she will not let bullies hurt anyone with their words. The MV is contrasted with two settings that go back and forth between dark and dystopian, to a mystical scene with a white-flowered tree. This is not only to put emphasis on the two sets of characters and their dual roles in the story, but also to portray that the girls are constantly engaged in combat, no matter where they are. The Tree of Language, Gayon, is with the backup dancers with incorporated flag staffs. This signifies that the tree itself is fighting against the evil that is within it. Dami reassures it that it will protect the tree, it being one of the victims of evil. The embodiment of evil is soaked in Shion's water, and it cleanses her. Shion aims to bring back the light, Yuyon, to the world, cleansed and free from the darkness. Jiyu then prepares the assault team, but we see petals rising up in her scene. It turns out that Yuyon sustains an arrow to her chest, but she survives. As Jiyu mirrors Yuyon, the petals can be seen in Jiyu's as well. The tree is about to lose its stand, when Shion performs one last battle cry to put an end to the dystopia. In the end, the evil, represented by Suwa, is contained, and Yuyon, who is now out of the bubble, may now resurface to the world. The tree is now free from the darkness that polluted its soil. While sustaining damage of her own, as shown in the gold itcher blood, she still puts up a confident look. As the song is about someone being a target, the masked character symbolizes a person who is out to hurt someone with their words. The mask implies the anonymity that online commenters are shielded by when making negative remarks towards idols, or anyone else for that matter. The voice of the song is a protector, though, and they are out to silence those who are making harmful and negative comments. In the end, we see the mask on the floor suggesting they were defeated. Their formation ends with their mouths covered. But clearly, they are already out of the frame. The tree is, in every sense of the word, clean, and the protection and guidance that it used to offer are now back. If at the start, the light did not come, is the light finally back?
Well,
the third part of the series opens up with mystery codes, one of which is important because it confirms whether the light has come. Dreamcatcher released a mystery code showing Shion's colored iris,
blinking?
a blue right eye and, something which we are not so familiar with, a yellow left eye. People are so quick to notice that this resembles Shion in rose blue, which is true. But what caught my attention more is the left eye that was previously covered. By looking at Gayon's mask and Scream, the right eye points out to the blue eye called the Devil's Eye because of their choreography, as well as Shion's concept photo, where blue tears are seen right beside her right eye. Shi Yan's right eye is covered in scream, but the mask confirms that Shi Yan managed to open it. This blue eye is the cause of the Great Flood in Boca, where the entire tree is submerged underwater in Shi Yan and Yu Yan scene. But whose eye could be the left yellow eye? Did we even see a member whose left eye is covered? Yes. Yes, we did. It is Suwa in Scream. Shi Yan's right eye is covered, while Suwa's left eye is covered. This parallelism is very reminiscent of the two in the previous storyline, where they are portrayed as twins. With the cheat code, we are familiar with the glyph that the two represent. Shi Yan is fire, while Suwa is smoke. We notice that Shi Yan's role is inverted. From fire, she becomes water. Her right blue eye points out the same detail. We then realize that this is exactly what dystopia is. In a dystopia, everything is out of order. Even the nightmares that each girl represents are misplaced. Jiyu's nightmare is fear of being chased, which we see is applied to Shi Yan. Suwa's fear of restraint is best seen with Dami. Shi Yan's fear of being trapped in small spaces is applied to Suwa. Handong's fear of being stared at is applied to Jiyu. Yu Yan's fear of being lost in an unknown place is applied to Handong. Dami's fear of being hurt is applied to Gaiyan. Lastly, Gaiyan's basophilia is applied to Yu Yan, as we see both in the same positions and postures. With this, if Shi Yan's right blue eye is the opposite of her nightmare role, Suwa's left yellow eye might as well follow the same inverted rule. The opposite of smoke is light. With this, we can say that the mystery code confirms that light is returned to dystopia. If at the start, the light did not come, by the end of Boca, the light is returned. As far as we know, the next music video will have themes of utopia, as the members themselves reveal. Light is ever present in a utopia. Interestingly, if the girls in the nightmare storyline dealt with the nightmare using fire, the girls in the dystopia storyline dealt with the nightmare using water. With fire and water, the girls overcome their nightmare. In the end, we realize further that the messages that Dreamcatcher conveys aren't limited to fantasy. It reflects the painful, difficult reality we live in. The dystopia Dreamcatcher created is a mirror that leads us to reflect upon our own world once more. Fortunately, we were able to establish a link between the two major storylines of Dreamcatcher. The Dreamcatcher that we know continually evolves and improves. But the fact remains that at the end of the day, we can still trace the origin of the universe that they are painting. When we apply the glyphs in Suwa's page to the dystopia, we not only get a bird's eye view of the story, but we also get to predict the theme of the next music video that will conclude the series. Suwa and Shi Yan are still twins inasmuch as they were back then. Jiyu is still mirroring Yu Yan. While the roles are retained, the symbolism strengthened, and the visuals and close-up shots prioritized, it seems that this page in the Nightmare book will remain to be a reusable cheat code when deciphering the Dreamcatcher universe. Come to think of it, this Nightmare book in itself tells us the intricate story of Dreamcatcher. This begs the question, what really was the source of the curse? From the clues that we have, I was able to pinpoint where it all started. We know that Suwa and Shi Yan are the first to be corrupted. They came from a forest. The purple rose bloomed from the Nightmare book. The girls consuming the flowers in Fly High, and finally, Suwa's line in Chase Me, more or less are the ingredients that we need to pinpoint the root cause of this mess. Perhaps, the root of everything is a bite from the red apple.
Odd eye, that's right.
Oh, by the way, welcome back, Handong. This marks the end of my video. Thank you for watching.
So that was cool. I really love watching these analyses because, I mean, all of this stuff just, especially on like a first watch. And I love these three songs especially just because they're like when you first get into a group and you really like them, the first couple songs you listen to are usually kind of some of your favorites anyway. But yeah, so Scream, Boca, and Odd Eye. Yeah, maybe it was Boca and Odd Eye we did first or something. No, I can't remember. But anyway, and then everyone was like, but you didn't watch the first one. So we went back and watched that. But yeah, I really like this trilogy. And now I have to remember the Odd Eye video. I can't remember. But I'm sure we'll get into that the next time we do some Dreamcatcher, because I'm definitely going to keep going. I really am loving these lore series, getting to know a little bit more. So yeah, there'll definitely be more parts because, of course, you can't watch everything all at once. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much, as always, for coming and checking us out over here on Patreon. Thank you so much. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.